So, here we are, coming up to the 3rd anniversary of the infamous lockdown. It's been 3 years already. And where are we? Well, here's the good news. The whole virus vaccine narrative is crumbling. Even the governments have had to back away publicly from frightening people with this hoax. Even though they're still pushing their little nudges. I think I saw some boxes on Facebook saying, "Be scared, the pandemic's still on. It's still there. You can still die of it." Now, before I would comment on those Facebook posts, and typically what would happen is that I'd be confronted by a horde of people saying how disrespectful I was. People have died, it's a real thing, it's scary, and all this stuff. But this time, my voice was lost amongst all the other voices saying how much it was bullshit. So the tide is turning. Even those people who've actually taken the vaccine, they're turning around to say that they're not taking any more. They regret having taken the first one. So the tide is changing. I don't believe that they'll ever get away with trying the virus narrative again. I know it's on the cards, I know it's something they want to do, but I don't think it's going to work this time. You've also noticed that they're positioning Matt Hancock as the fall guy, as the scapegoat, and concentrating on the whole Midazolam massacre, shall we say. And yes, lots of old people died because they were murdered by Midazolam, indeed. But this is only to distract from the virus narrative, because, as I said, I think they want to push that narrative again and they want to preserve it. So yes, they can see people's outrage, well, should we say muted outrage, because there is no public outrage. But they can see that people are kind of outraged by what happened, and they want to channel that into rage against Matt Hancock so that people stop looking at the virus. Don't fall for it. Yes, Matt Hancock needs to be hung by the neck until he's dead. I'm sorry, but that's the way I see it for all of these characters. I think that's what happened in Nuremberg, wasn't it? I don't think they should deserve any special treatment. I think they deserve the same treatment that the Nazis got. Yes, Matt Hancock deserves what is definitely coming to him, but we shouldn't take our eyes off the main story. Now, because I think the whole virus narrative will not work this time, I think they might just go straight into the climate change rubbish. Even that has come under scrutiny. Even some of the muggles are looking at it and raising their eyebrows now. Anyone who cares to look at the Club of Rome and the writings of Aurelio Pesci, I believe it's 1972, his document called Limits to Growth, lays out the whole plan. And then it was implemented by another Club of Rome member, Al Gore. So you can see how all the players are there and all sort of pushing the same narrative. And we're seeing all these treaties getting put in place, and these new bits of legislation coming in, and for some that could be quite scary. But here's the thing to remember, and you can be forgiven for falling for this, because this has been pushed on us constantly for our entire lives. Legislation is not law. Now, I know you've heard that before. Legislation is not law. But consider this. A law is when you cause somebody else harm, injury or loss. If you do that, then you've broken a law. That's a crime. Okay? The only other cause of action against you is a contract. So you've signed a contract and somehow you've breached it. Well, now somebody can come against you for that breach of contract. If there's no contract, and if you've not committed a crime, Nobody can impose anything on you. Nobody. As I've said in some of my talks, you are one step below the Most High Creator. Okay? And every single man, woman and child is at the exact same level as you. So no man, woman or child can ever tell you what to do. Can never impose themselves on you. Okay? So, all these bits of legislation are optional. You did not form a contract with your government or your council or any of these so-called authority figures. Unless you did write in a contract to say that you do what these people would say, right? You did not sign a contract. And unless you've specifically given your consent to these bits of legislation, they do not have any power over you whatsoever. So ignore them, right? That's something you should be doing anyway, right? It's only because we've been taught that legislation is law that we've gone along with these things all this time. That and the threat of, the police coming down on us. But as people start to, and this is not meant to be disparaging, as people started to grow up, to actually become adults and take responsibility back for themselves, they're starting to see that the police have no power over them, again, unless they've committed a crime. So this is something we should be doing as a matter of course. Not going along with legislation, unless it's we feel it's good legislation. But specifically, we are under, we're basically under lawful rebellion. Article 61 of the Magna Carta, that was lawfully invoked, I believe it's March 23rd, 2001. And so we are in lawful rebellion. And our job, our duty, is to oppose the government and hinder it in any way we can possibly think of doing so, as long as we do so lawfully. Again, that is not harming, injuring or causing loss to any man or woman. So yeah, it is our duty to oppose this government, this treasonous government, any way we think we can. And that is, not paying council tax, not paying fines and things like that. Not caring about all this stuff. Because it doesn't matter. None of it matters. What really matters, is your future if you don't do this. If you don't fight back, what will matter is the lack of freedom that we'll have and our children will inherit and believe it is a natural way to be, if we don't do anything about it. This is the time to fight back. People take this game way too seriously. It is a game. It is a game we're playing, albeit a game with serious consequences for you. That is, if you play this game badly, then, well, things don't go right for you. But playing the game well involves standing up against evil. And this is what we're up against. We're up against pure, unadulterated evil. As science fiction-y as this might sound, we've already had the alien invasion. The aliens came a long, long time ago. And now they've integrated themselves into our society and made it so that we don't see them as alien anymore. But alien they are. And if you sort of squint your eyes a bit at this bloodline, the ruling bloodline, right? If you squint your eyes, you can see that they're not human. They're not like everybody else. Not only is this bloodline not human, but they hate humans. They hate us with a passion. But they're only a small bloodline. They don't have that many people. So how does a small number of people manage to exterminate 7 billion people? Well, if you're smart, which these characters are, they get us to kill each other or kill ourselves. And that's pretty much what's been happening for the last 3 years. But here's the thing, their time is running out. They were given a blessing that was only a temporary blessing, and that has run out. It's been 500 years and their time is up now. This is why they're frantically trying to bring their one world order into being, and it's ultimately why they will fail. We have the power, and our power lies in us saying no. Simple word, but apparently it's hard for most people to say no. And that's it. If we all decided to say no together, then there's nothing they can do. They can bring in all this legislation, but if everyone said no to it, legislation goes. It can't stand. And there are many people talking about our constitution and the power that we have as a jury, and that is jury nullification. Yeah, the people saying no, this legislation is not fair, it's not just, and it's it can't stand, and we strike it out. So yes, the power is in our hands, and this is the time that we should exercise this power, because if they get their way, our lives will never be the same again. We won't even recognise our lives if they get their own way, right? And while I believe that they won't get their own way, I still believe it's up to us. We still have to oppose it. So don't pay your council tax. I'm giving people templates and strategies to lawfully and honourably not pay council tax, utility bills, parking, speeding tickets, all this stuff. But if you don't want to do all that stuff, yeah, just don't pay it and just say no, I'm not doing it, not paying. They can only threaten you so much, and since they're already trying to take your house, take all your personal property, what else can they take from you? It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you oppose something, you do something against this, right? Just do what you can. We've got these 15-minute cities that they're just barreling ahead with. If you see those cameras, rip them down, smash them, cut the wires, paint over them, move those bloody planters, do what you can to hinder this plan, because it's not the government's plan, it's a WEF's plan. It's Klaus Schwab and his cronies that are behind it. It's not the local council, it's not the government, but they're using our money to put these things in against our will. So it's legitimate for us to smash them down, break them down, because again, it's our money that they're spending against us, and it's against our will. So take them down, right? I saw somebody cutting down a 5G tower. Great. I've seen somebody pouring concrete down those automatic barrier things so they don't come up again. Brilliant. Yeah. Anything you can do to hinder this, yeah. And again, you don't have to go rioting or walking, carrying placards or marching anywhere. No, you do small acts of defiance, and large ones if you can get away with them, but acts of defiance nonetheless, because time is running short. We haven't got much time at all. On a personal level, you get points. You get points for standing up against evil. If you've not stood up against the evil, then you're actually with the evil. You are an accomplice to the evil. Do you want to still do that? Do you want to still be, aiding and abetting evil? No. Repentance is turning away from evil and going back to the laws of the Most High. And those laws are the ones that we know, that are written on our hearts. So just for your own sake, turn away against this evil. And for the for the wider population, we need you standing with us, opposing this, because it takes a mass of the people to say no for them to have to reverse course. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening.